Talk about RubyMotion. So take it away.
All right, let's talk about this sexy code right here. All right, so I'm talking about RubyMotion. If you want the slides, I worked really hard on it, so I think other people care about that. That's the programmer's dilemma. So you could scan that. I think I saw one person do it. So easy enough. Just come up here. Get intimate with it. This is intimate. Yeah. So
Just Google RubyMotion.
Yeah. You'll get my slides. They actually they rank higher than the actual company.
Okay.
So who am I? I'm a Rubyist. I love Ruby on Rails. I love Ruby. It's made a big difference in my life. And I'm really immature. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about anything too important, but I hope that we all have fun in the same aspect. I work at, I'm going to say I work at Iconoclast Labs, but I just own half of it, and we just code on Tuesdays. So, and the presentation's over. Wow. I'm going to get rid of this. There's no more using this thing anymore. So don't buy the cheap one on Amazon. Okay. So next, I wrote a book. It's only 60 pages, and it's with Pact Publishing, but I brought a bunch of them, and if you want one, it's yours. Cheap enough, you know? I also organized the Motion Meetup. It's our monthly meetup, where we just kind of get together with some of the people, the movers and the shakers. RubyMotion's less than 2 years old, and so these people have really kicked a lot of ass. And so I meet with these people and find out where it's going, what's the roadmap, and it's been really cool. So if you want to actually kind of find out more, you're kind of interested in this, go to meetup.rubymotion.com. He actually gave us the subdomain. The dude's cool as hell. And Matt's here, my good buddy Matt. He's the other half of Iconoclast Labs. That's him smoking a ball. All right, so I'm going to talk about RubyMotion. Pretty much I expect that to explain. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? So, RubyMotion, let's go ahead and do this the right way. RubyMotion is a proprietary tool chain created by HipByte SPRL for developing native iOS and OS X applications on Apple devices and computers by statically compiling the Ruby programming language. That's like the worst way to start any presentation, I'm pretty sure. I like to just say this is like apps the Ruby way. And if you're like a Ruby or a Python developer, you understand there's a way to write code that doesn't suck, and it's usually with a programming language that you love, not one from the 80s. And so I absolutely really enjoy it. The problem with being a Ruby developer is you're going around town, and people are like, oh my god, dude, you're a Ruby developer. Will you sign my chest? No, sir. No, I will not. I'm not going to do that anymore. But it's a lot of fun. It's really a great language, and it really helps out. Now, my idea here is to kind of show you it does make making iPhone apps a lot cooler. So let's go to a quick example. The Objective-C button tap. Let me get a quick poll. How many Ruby developers in here? All right. How many iPhone developers? All right. And how many just programmers? Okay, cool. How many game developers did we take from the thing? 1. Nice. I'm glad I put a game in this.
Paul put handcuffs on those guys.
Yeah, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got them?
He's got them.
All right, so cool. So let's take a look at this. This is your Objective-C, right? It sucks. You know, you've got your normal stuff. Button, add target. You're telling the button, you're going to send it to delegates and all the fun stuff that we're going to send this to the button. We want to tell the action with the selector. We're going to tell it to call this function. And then on the for control events, look at this. UI control event touch up inside. God, it drives me insane.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say I've actually never written a fully done Objective-C application, and never will. I'm never going to do this stuff. So then elsewhere in your application, I mean, how often do things have buttons? Think about it. You know, this is actually a pretty common aspect that you have to worry about all the time. On the button tap, somewhere else, you're going to catch that. And then you're going to, so you have this target, you're going to tell it, on button tapped, you're going to set just the background color to UI color red color. You're passing red color into UI color. To me, as you know, a lot of people around here do .NET development. I met some of you. Some of you did PHP. A lot of people did PHP for a while. Looking at this, I did C and C++ before I did a lot of stuff. Still, looking at Objective-C, this kind of gives me a small brain aneurysm. And I've actually avoided a lot of that code for that reason. So let's take a look at RubyMotion, right? This is going to be magical. No, it's not. This is actually crap too. Why? We've got the same thing. It just actually kind of makes a little bit more sense. We're passing button, we're saying add target onto it. We're passing in self. We're passing in the the function. We got rid of that little selector jump. But basically elsewhere, we have the same mess. Does anybody know why that is? Don't stop, Matt. Stop. Because we're working with a framework. You know, these guys are the conductors, and we just time in when they want to. You still have to meet that delegate signature. Even though this is Ruby, this looks so much like Objective-C crammed into Ruby as possible. So what's the benefit? Nothing. Honestly, I'm not too happy with that myself. But let's do a better example. What our Ruby developers like, we love our gems. We love the fact that we've got our meta. We're going to get as meta as possible. We're going to program this stuff. We're going to wrap it. We're going to punch some ducks. We're going to do monkey patching. Duck punching is still my favorite one for that. So you've got the same function here. Now I'm going to include a gem. This is SugarCube that I'm going to include. SugarCube is written and supported by RubyMotion. Okay? So you want to write your good old classic Objective-C in Ruby, no one's going to stop you. You can do that till your heart's content. But tell me if you can't understand that. Right? I mean, this gets rid of the delegates and the targets and replaces it with a good old Ruby block. This I can live with. And I guarantee you 95% of the RubyMotion I write looks like this, and only when I have to, I look at something like that. And then as fast as possible, I write that. Like, this is a world different. I can go up to anybody and say, like, the button.onTouch, do self-view background color, set it to this red UI color. I'm done. It's as easy as that. So I actually end up enjoying, changing volume. I actually end up enjoying writing a lot of RubyMotion code, and I include a ton of gems. But it doesn't just do that. So this guy, Clay, he used to be an Objective-C developer. He actually runs a company called Use Propeller, or Propeller. I'm not sure which one it is if you couldn't just get the domain. He wrote this, and it's really beautiful as a quote. You have to see it. Less like Objective-C and more like Ruby. So as you can see this, the readability of this statement just grows as it goes forward. And I think it's a lot. It's a great statement in and by itself. And he's one of the core developers. Yeah, it's the RubyMotion group. So what's so great about it? Well, this is my opinion. I imagine a lot of people will disagree with me, but I'm going to go forward with these. Gems and community. Everybody here is a Ruby developer knows that you can go out there and grab some really awesome gems that do something that somebody has spent years on and knock it out the park. If you're using Devise or you're using whatever you're doing, all these things are great. Can you bring a lot of those gems in? A lot of them you can. You're going to be limited. You can't eval. Apple won't allow it. You can't do a few things here and there. There's some things that it's statically compiled, so you're not going to be able to go ahead and get past that. Oh well. Editor independence. Anybody who's ever had Xcode crash on them knows exactly the beauty of that. I know somebody earlier was talking about the fact that it's not an IDE. I love that it's not an IDE. I'm sure some people are upset I'm not doing more of my presentation in Vim, but I think you would appreciate this, Testing. Ruby environment is test-driven. And this, just like everything else, has to be tested. An entire QA department means nothing if they can't go through the same thing as an automated test. And the fact that you can test your stuff and it tests first, just like Ruby usually is. Technically, it's behavior-driven development, I think, because it's spec, but same stuff. You know, so you're set on that. And I test like a total of like 20% of my code, guys. So that's some serious coverage. Readability. You saw that statement earlier. The snake case. There's a study at Kent State that said that you are able to read the snake case lettering a lot easier than you are able to read the camel case stuff. So I love that it's that sort of readability. They did an eye tracking study. I'm going to link to it in the notes. So if you want to go ahead and spend hours reading after an eye tracking study, feel free. But I just read that essentially snake case is better and said, woohoo, moved on. Well, I tweeted it too. But so you got your readability. And also, I love the way Ruby reads. I mean, like just so you're coming down to the end of it. You want to say unless, not if not. You know, don't work in negatives. Natively compiled. So here's a cool thing. If you wanted to write PhoneGap, and you want to do all your HTML fun stuff, well then you're running on top of that, and you've got all these limitations. This actually gets compiled down to bytecode. Basically, when you submit it to the App Store, it's they don't actually know it came from RubyMotion. They thought that you just did all this stuff in Objective-C anyway, in Xcode, and then sent them the IPA. They have no idea. I mean, they could. Obviously, they go in there and they look at it, and you've got all these Ruby functions built in. It adds like a megabyte of addition to your file, but good luck, that's it. I mean, natively compiled beats the pants off of PhoneGap. And a while back when I first did the research for this, I wrote an article called PhoneGap versus RubyMotion, and the guy who made PhoneGap found it and got really butthurt, and he made like a counter article which had nothing to do with any of the talking points. So honestly, it kind of comes down to an aspect. Are you gonna, to quote, I think it was Ron Burgundy in the post I did, are you gonna half-ass two things or whole-ass one thing? Right? And the REPL. So my Ruby devs, you've got your stuff in IRB. Do you use Pry, Ben? You're in Pry and all that stuff? Yeah, Pry in the house. We've got, you want to work with your code and you want to see it in real time. REPL is read, evaluate, print loop. It's great because you can change your code in real time. I'm going to show you this stuff actually. Why not? So let's do a quick analogy. RubyMotion is to Objective-C. We're going to go ACT on this. RubyMotion is to Objective-C as CoffeeScript is to JavaScript. If you know CoffeeScript, it's like a more readable, funner, cooler thing, and it's simpler, and then it compiles down JavaScript. But RubyMotion doesn't compile down to Objective-C, it compiles down to the bytecode, so that's kind of a bad analogy, actually. Plus, RubyMotion has gems, which are sort of like jQuery plugins. If you like doing jQuery plugins, if you're a web developer, that's pretty cool. So it's RubyMotion is Objective-C as CoffeeScript is to JavaScript plus jQuery. And then, then there's MacBacon, which has spec tests, like if you were going to do Jasmine. Then there's the REPL, like if you want to have developer tools as well. Okay, so you get the point. Essentially, it does a lot for you, and at the same pace, it kind of keeps you in control. Let's look at some code. That's what everybody's saying. So I'm going to start off real quick with the classic Hello World app. Yay! Then I'm going to go to an app that we just released for iOS 7. It was like for the community, free stuff. And then, because there's a game developer who came over, I went ahead and added a game into my presentation. Totally tacos.
We're ready.
All right, so start a project. Pretty easy. Motion, create, test. Duh. Motion's your command here. And then when you first run it, tests fail. Like I said, I try to do a lot of test-driven development. Try is a key word. Tests fail because it starts off with like the red-green refactor mentality. So when it comes out the box, it says, is there a window? One test comes out, and it says, is there a window? When you first do it, it gives you nothing. They're totally about giving you nothing to start. If there are templates out there, should you want to start with something, but if you want to start with just the motion create, it's like, have at it, man. We're going to just create a window that opens up for you. Adding a window, we'll go ahead and get that test to pass. So after this test will pass. All I do here, and some of you coders might know this one, I create a window. This is all part of what you need for the Cocoa and UI kit. You've got your window, allocate, init with frame, very Objective-C-esque. Set it to the bounds. Window, set the root view controller, hello world, and say new. New is allocate init, all in one nice little bundle. Window, make key end visible. That means that's a part of the framework. Keystrokes go to that window, and it's made visible. Easy, easy, easy. In here, I say height. That's all. Actually, I use print, and I don't. So let's take a look at the REPL for that one. So you can do all kinds of cool stuff. Like once you run that code, I can adjust it in real time, and I can traverse down this mad tree. But the cool thing is RubyMotion doesn't stop me there. I can actually just command click the view. So once I command click the view, I'm rocking and rolling without all that. So let's go ahead and do a quick example. I'm in Hello World right now. And I'm just going to run rake. I'm not going to do the tests or anything. And we'll go ahead and let that build. And here on the right side, you can see a beautiful nothing. That's what I wrote. And then it prints out Hello World instead of hi. But what I can do is hold down command and lean over there. See that red outline? I'm actually selecting an element in real time. I click it. Now take a look at this. In my REPL, I am the UI view. I'm adjusting this code right now. I could say self, I might as well type over here, self.background color equals white.ui color. Bam! Now my website, and it is, this app's awesome now. Put it on there, charge 99 cents. Done. So I've got some stuff here. I'm going to go ahead and create a label. Label equals UI label. I'm going to take a look at my cheat. UI label new. Shouldn't have had so many drinks. At label.text equals hi people. I'm going to tell it to size to fit. And then, what else do I want to do? I'm going to just add it. Self.addSubView label.
That's mistyped.
Did I? What did I do?
Typed EI.
Ah, thank you. Self.addSubView label. Okay, so you see it at the top left? That looks good. That's good. That's now the app's moved up to at least $1.50. This is an iOS 7ism. Some of you might have been fighting this. The fact that essentially you can hide underneath all that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set that. I'm going to set the center for that. So now I've got a reference to the variable anyway. So label.center equals, and then I don't have to do a CG rect or anything like that. I could say put it at 100, 100. Bam! There we go. The Hi People application written like essentially as you're typing it inside the REPL, it's happening inside your application. Then you can go ahead and take that same exact code, toss it into your app, and you know it works. This is what I love about Ruby on Rails. I pry into this stuff, and I'm typing the code as it's happening, and I get to see it, and I say, oh, it's discoverable. That's the short way of saying it. You've got discoverable code now. So, oh, you know what I should have done? I'm going to do one more thing. I didn't actually do it then. I should have done it. One of the things that's really cool here is that you might say, hey, how do I command click stuff when their Z order is all messed up, right? Well, while I had all that stuff on the screen, it would have made sense. But you could say, there's a cool gem. I type in tree, and it gives me all this cool stuff. And then while I've got all that cool stuff, I could just tell it, like, I want to adjust, you know, the view. And I could select that, and now A equals the view. So if you've got stuff stacked up like crazy, this tree in Sugar Cube builds out, it's the REPL part of the tree, builds out everything that's there and gives it a number. So you just look at it and you say, oh, I really want to change item number 53. Done. It's set. So that's pretty cool. I almost burned through this. All right. So that's Hello World. I know everybody is just entranced and you're all going to go home and write Hello World applications because that's the coolest thing ever. Let's look at some more code, right? Ruby Trivia. This is an app that we wrote on a whim to help out. Essentially, we were learning a framework, helping out this dude doing a meetup, and released it open source and released it for everybody for a free application. If you go out there and search for Ruby Trivia, if you like Ruby, you can actually go ahead and do Ruby Trivia on your phone, as long as it's an iPhone. In there, I've included Sugar Cube, like I was saying, Teacup, which is like doing CSS to lay stuff out. So if you like CSS and you absolutely hate doing it any other way. ProMotion, which is another way to hide all that mess that comes with the original, you know, iPhone development. Bubble Wrap, 4Motion, and some other gems that I did not do pull requests to, so they didn't make their list here. And so I wrote a web page for it. Everybody who knows the exhibit thing here knows what's going on. So in Ruby, I wrote a Ruby Trivia app. So we got a Yo Dog, if you know your memes. Here it is on the store. It's kind of nice. And let's go ahead and look at that. Easy enough. I have all this stuff available, all the code I'm showing tonight. If you wanted to pull it down and just start rocking with it, feel free. So it's going to be Trivia. Let's take a look at the actual app. It's pretty simple. It's a flashcard app. Everybody needs their flashcards. It's powered by a JSON file. So you've got your little app here. You slide left, asks you a question. Slide left again, asks you, well, this screen's not able to hold it all right now. You tap, flips it around, gives you the answer, like the back of the flashcard. You want to go back, you want to go forward. Does string include enumerable module? Does anybody know? No, it does not. You want to go back and review? Swipe the other way. Easy enough, instructions right there. The About page shows everybody who ever gave something free to this thing, and then it's got some more aspects of it there. As you see on the left side, what I'm doing is I'm showing you all the, I'm using Awesome Print for RubyMotion. I'm awesome printing out everything that's happening in actions. It's perfect. So now I can see what functions are getting called. No problem. If we take a look at the code for this guy, let's take a look at it. Ruby Trivia. You remember all that crazy app delegate stuff? ProMotion makes it this easy. I love it. I love wrapping all that mess into this clean stuff. On load, open the question screen with a nav bar. Like, who can't read that? Like, do we have any non-developers here? Okay, so what does that do?
Wait, I wasn't.
It has nothing to do with tacos. That's later.
I was waiting for the tacos.
I know. We really pushed the taco thing, and it's coming. I promise that. So in here, I've got styles. I've got like cool little styles. I mean, this basically makes sense. These are big old hashes on where to place stuff. Easy enough. I've got my screens, the about screen, the question screen. So that big table you saw, who's done tables in iOS? Yes, yes, yes. Take a look at it. You ever thought maybe it should just be a large hash of exactly what it is that you're doing? Like, this is normally, stop me if I exaggerate, 5 million pages in an Objective-C for a table.
2 to 3 orders of magnitude off.
Yeah, 2, 3. But it's close enough. I'll take that. We have a rounding error. So I just put in there each element of the cells into this value, and then just set it. There it is. I have a little function down here for emailing. I have a little function there for when you click the view page, it loads a website. I just call the URL open. If you know the Objective-C for that, you are probably dead inside, like me. So easy enough. This loads up that aspect, and then I have a settings screen too. I have all the modal windows, the answer screen, stuff like that. If you go to the settings and you want to turn on and off stuff, that's it. That's every question, and that's powered by the JSON file. I load a brand new JSON file, that whole thing just picks it up immediately, adds new buttons, adds new everything for that aspect. And then it keeps it in app persistence so that my settings are required and set from there forward. It really makes it a lot nicer. And considering Matt and I have written where we've jammed Objective-C into Ruby on places before these gems got in their place and got done, this is really great. All this stuff's readable. I really hope that you pull it down and just take a glance at it. So that app's pretty simple. Does anybody have any questions about that? Any aspects that you want to know? Yes.
I saw you. It looked like you were building using Rake.
Yeah. So it's very much like doing Rails.
So
normally Rake runs the tests.
Pop open the Rake file.
Oh yeah. It's a good idea. Let's go ahead and let's get some Rake file going. All right, go ahead. You want to look at it?
So that can be like one of the most complicated parts of submitting the app. It's all the kind of like bells and whistles and tweaks you have to do for to get it into the App Store without it getting just quickly automatically rejected. So do you ever run into that with this, or it's pretty?
So here's where that's at. Like I said, RubyMotion's less than 2 years old. They are not very well documented on this process, I would say, in my complete honesty. It is something that's growing with the community, but by that same aspect, once you've got the formula correct, moving it from application to application is easy. We have one file actually between Matt and I. It's got symbolic links. It's actually, did I do it in this one?
Yeah, it's there.
See app properties here? What I do is I just load all the properties into here. So if you take a look at this, I wrote a class, or actually we got it from a blog post from one of the other developers. We just grabbed this class and you put all the aspects you want inside here, and then you reference those, so then whenever you want to change one of the features, you just put it in here, and you see this provisioning like you're talking about?
Right.
This is a reference to a symbolic link, and so that way when he builds on his machine, it's tying to his provisioning, and when I build on mine, it's tied to mine. So it winds up helping out a lot. But I will say this, it's not, whenever they go through making Xcode easier, you're not going to see those benefits because you're not touching Xcode nearly as much.
Right.
Or if at all, if I can handle it.
So when you submit an app that you've built with RubyMotion, like, are you taking an IPA file, loading it into Xcode, and submitting it through?
Loading it.
Application loader.
Application loader, yeah, an IPA. Yep.
Okay, cool.
That's it. It builds. I type rake archive distribution,
And then that's
and it creates an IPA for me instantaneously. If I want to put an app on my iPad, I say rake device, and it grabs the first device it finds and puts it on there. And that's actually how I do a lot of this stuff. Coming to this world from being everything's easy, like loving Ruby stuff, and then having some of the provisioning madness happen, I will not lie. I've run into, they've not cushioned the fact that you need to get everything the way Apple wants in order to submit that stuff. But once you've got it, any app I move to I'm pretty much set with.
So once you get your protocol down, it's
Yeah.
it's pretty easy.
As a matter of fact, if you can get each machine provisioned in the way you want, then actually having multiple developers ready to roll with it's very easy. So it's actually quite nice. I don't have many functions in here, but we added a few things here and there. But it's pretty simple. I mean, it's just it's that rake file, and you can add anything that's normally inside of your plist. You can start modifying any of those aspects. And I think that there's like a specific command. I think it's rake config or something. If you want to actually see the output of something like that.
It generates the plist dynamically when it builds that.
Cool. Yeah. So it's nice. It saves you from a lot.
So
Okay.
It's been a while since I played with RubyMotion, but
Yeah.
has using zibs and nibs or
Mhm.
zibs gotten better?
Yeah. Essentially, people are constantly working on making all that a little bit nicer. When it first came out, you were basically doing what I showed you before, where you were just writing Ruby, and you were doing this madness Xcode where I was jamming Objective C into Ruby, and then you'd write your meta stuff. Like you'd be like, man, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to monkey patch UI label. And now I'm adding my functionality on top of that, and I can be ignorant of that aspect. Well, that's where all the libraries are coming from. As a matter of fact, if you come up with a brand new feature that needs to be in your application, do a pull request to SugarCube. I really think that they're significantly awesome. And there's two different aspects. I mean, there's a library out there, if you want to be an absolute elitist and make sure you don't touch all these aspects, you can do Bubble Wrap, which has not God objects, but like little demigod objects that you pull down that you can actually pull from, like device dot whatever the device should know, and all these other things, and it makes it nice and clean. Whereas SugarCube is syntactic sugar, and you can say, I have this view, I want to change its x coordinate. Well, you don't need to know. They like to say, UI view dot origin dot x. And then if you want to change the size, you want to do UI dot bounds dot width. You're actually a little bit hidden away, but it's all usually open source anyway. If you want to dig down and see all the code that it's calling for you, no problem. That won't stop you. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and on to this other aspect. I tied this in. If you don't care about game development, I'm sorry. But this guy is cool as hell. And I tell y'all, Matt and I do the motion meetup stuff. And we're going to be meeting with the guy who built this gem. It's a game development gem. And it's sort of like a framework on top of that. It is awesome. I really did enjoy it in my interaction. And we're going to be meeting with him next week on like a Google Hangout, because he lives in Mexico. And we basically do this every month. We meet up with a bunch of people, and we find out what they're doing and the moving and the shaking of the whole stuff. So there's Joybox. That's his little cat. He loves putting this guy. It's on the website. There's tons of documentation. Joybox is less than a year old. They released Joybox when RubyMotion turned 1. The guy is a passionate programmer. He makes stuff constantly. All right. So what is Joybox? All right, it's based on, if you've made games for iPhones, it's on Cocos 2D. It's got all the logic from that if you want to build all those stuff. He includes Box 2D physics. Box 2D is C++. So good luck wrapping all that stuff together. He did it for you. It's easy enough. And then everything has got like a little Ruby API. He's open to pull requests on top of that. And believe me, it's easy. It is easy. I talked to the guy. He's cool as hell. I asked him to send me a game he's working on. He sent me this. I don't know what that is, but it's awesome. This looks like Ron Burgundy jumping over like network cables that can kill him. And this is a game that's like in the development right now. He's already got samples for side scrollers and all kinds of cool stuff. But if you want to know a game that's going to change your life, like you're just not going to know what to do with yourself, and you're just gonna go home and say, look, what do I do now that I've seen this game? You want to see, it's not that slide. You want to see something totally different. I'm gonna show you this. This dude is working in the REPL much like I did a little while ago. This is like a 3-minute video. Let's see. Yeah, we're doing just fine. I'm gonna go ahead and show you this video, and you let me know what you think. If you're able to see it. Is everybody able to basically see most of that? Can you read it? Might walk you along with it. How about we hit play? So, I don't think I'm on the network here.
Go to your thing.
No!
What did we change it to?
Oh, it is changed.
By water one.
I'll let you do that.
So you're on list 3.
So how's everybody doing? Enjoying
Most
this?
schools are gonna be tacos.
They're digital. I hope you like a little extra 1 and 0 on top of those. Actually, you can see the cool ass icon I made for it. Nice. Let's see if this actually plays now. Okay. Cool. It's actually playing. So this dude, if you're familiar with all the Cocos 2D stuff, he's creating this world and passing in, creating these objects in real time via the REPL. Yeah, it's gravity to the world. And negative, like, yeah, it's positive gravity, which is a little weird.
That box is gone now.
Right? I believe
That's how you have to get rid of it.
if I can just do that. I believe he's making a floor while he's doing this. There's your floor. And change reverses gravity for you. Destroys it. Sets the gravity to a realistic 9.8 negative. Creates a ball. And as you can see right here, he's using the Ruby blocks. All this is nice and kind of the same aspects that you would want to write code in. Center. When he released this, he wrote the Gorillas app in front of everybody. When he first released Joybox.
Oh wow.
So that was cool. And here's applied force, which is just receives a vector in 2D. Easy enough. So you don't have to worry about all the math involved with dealing with gravity and vectors. And then you can go absolutely obnoxious. He's got 50 times. He's got a loop coming up. There we go. Look at that. If you wanted to code all that physics, good luck. And then sends it away. And then destroys the world that he just created. Easy enough. If you look at this guy doing stuff, I mean, it looks like candy. I don't know about that. How about I go ahead and write an app? And how about this app be the most amazing thing that will change your life? Totally tacos. I made this game in one day. That's me avoiding tacos because I couldn't think of a better way to do this.
It's like the inverse of your world.
Yeah. There's no reason, so let's go ahead and run this live. Let's get out of Ruby Trivia and go to Totally Tacos. I'm gonna rake, which, like, you know, as we discussed before, is usually runs tests here it actually just runs and kind of whatever you set inside of all your other fun stuff. I think I have music for this, so let's totally.
Totally turn up the tacos.
Yeah. So I suck at this game. Oh, and I can't even see the top of the screen, so it's even better. Alright, I stole most of the graphics too. Alright, so the idea of this is to avoid tacos. Up. And the thing is, I've got I got hit by a taco. You've got hitboxes, you can actually do real detection. Like what I have there is I lost at the game right away for y'all. Alright, so let's go over here. Let's avoid these guys. Yeah, there you go, see? Easy enough. This is and that little wiggle I did, I just actually sent that as a pull. Oh man. Suck this game. I do have it on iPad and it goes a lot more frames, so after this, if you're interested in actually playing and showing me up in Totally Tacos with this annoying song, you can totally have that, and you can play to your heart's content. It's a lot less jittery. It's good. This music totally says tacos to me, guys. I don't know. But Casamito needs to pull up out front. I'll just open this up. Awesome. That was a great game. Do y'all want to look at the code real quick? Yeah, we love games! Okay, cool. Totally tacos. I love that. Alright, so there's the stuff over it. So let's take a look at essentially what's going on inside here. Inside the app delegate, this all gets set up for you when you pull down the Joybox gem. You're having a good old time. It puts all this stuff in here about picking up the director after you've received a phone call, things that you have to worry about building phone apps. You don't have to worry about right now. All I'm doing is creating a director and giving it this game scene. The game layer is pretty basic. On enter, I'm setting up the simple audio engine to play that beautiful Mexican Fiesta MP3 that we all heard. And then I create a background sprite and a face sprite. And then I'm moving forward. Here's my menu. It's a menu label tossed onto this menu object that you see for start game. Like, set the color and all the other stuff. You could have made this a lot fancier, put a hat on it, and all kinds of stuff. I imagine if you want to pull down and play Totally Tacos all day, you can. When the game starts, I just kind of set all the base variables. This code sucks, by the way. This is not as cool as the last program, but this is like basic code, man. You just set all the basic stuff, set up. On touching, yeah, move it to wherever you're touching on the iPad. When you move it to wherever you're touching on the iPad. And I schedule a little update. When you lose, it says you lost in the console. It sets the max tacos to 0, which is a sad day for everyone, I know. I fade out. That's my face fading out right there. I stop all actions on it. And then I set the menu's visibility to show back again. It's just like showing a button. Launching tacos. Easy enough. I've got an array, or equal the array here. Max taco size controls it. And I'm launching these suckers. I'm basically giving it a taco position beginning and end that sends the random. And I give a duration, it's got 4 seconds. So I can absolutely send those tacos faster and faster and faster by changing that variable. The run action, I'm actually making them rotate. I don't know if y'all noticed. I give them some random rotation that they do over 4 seconds. And then they add themselves here, and every time they're launched, I bring the face back to alive. Check for collisions. This is a bounding box check. Essentially, it's not like the alpha values of those two things checking. That would take a little bit more. For right now, all I do is say if they actually collide with their rectangles around those objects. And then when I do, I change my face to eat, I wiggle, and I scale up. I mean, I wrote this in one day. You can easily tell that. That's not that hard, and it's great. And then I was playing it for a while, and then I added little things like the music, which I know everyone appreciates. I took out blinking because it bothered me. I was about to have a seizure. and then I added, I think somewhere around here, this. I started removing tacos because once you get about 200 tacos on the screen, frame rate shoots down. Yeah, so oddly enough, all the gluttons out there are going to be sad about that line. And that's pretty much it.
Can we see the gem file?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what you want to see the gem file for? You want to see it for this one, but it's just got rake and joybox.
Awesome.
But the one that's gonna actually say, "Hey, look at me, I've got stuff," is the gem file here, where all those gems that I included. So it's
all
got
at Ruby gems, like it's all standard.
Yeah.
a lot of people write. Some of them are specifically for motion, like joyboxes, and some of them are just already existing stuff that's out there that's even greater and it's better to do. And
Lol commits is not RubyMotion specific, but you can use it.
Yes,
Is that the
dude.
one that takes pictures of you?
Yes, every time I commit. You don't want to see some of the pictures I took while I was making this presentation. It's hilarious. So easy enough. I think that's pretty much everything. If you have questions, let me know. Also, if you want some sunglasses, or if you want the book I wrote, or if you want, some stickers, I think I brought all that crap. So have at it.
What
Hey, questions?
is the book?
Oh, I have them right here.